Hello there. Welcome back to Rock Talk. I am Greg Godovitz. And yes, I've been getting your letters. I said that we were going to have the whole truth and nothing but the truth about Prince at the Super Bowl 41. And it wasn't a question of me being a liar. No, 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 no. What it was that Josh was so darn interesting, we decided to do a two-parter. So tonight, we're going to do the rest of that, and you're going to get the whole skinny on what went down at Super Bowl 41. I promise. Prince, all the rest of that. In other news, I have been paying attention to your requests, and we have a whole bunch of people scheduled coming up, including this guy, my dear friend Steve Lukather, also called Luke. I call him Luke. He calls me Gatto. And this is a great book about his career. This guy has played on over 5,000 different records. And the list is just like, well, when we do the PSA, when Luke comes up, you'll see this scroll, and it'll be 5,000 people that he played with. Except me. He never played with me. Oh, we have played live. This guy here, Richard X. Heyman. His first album, Cornerstone, was the soundtrack for me writing the book Travels with My Amp. And then I got to know him a little bit, hadn't met him yet, still haven't met him, but we've become friends, him and his wife Nancy, who plays on the album. They've made 14 albums. This guy is incredible. He's like Todd Rundgren or John Wade or one of those great pop artists, and he's going to be coming up on the show because this is a brand new album. The funny thing about this, which I noticed the other day when I was talking to him, is that sitting on the bed here, you can't see that, but both of my books, Travels with My Amp, I should say Shop Greg Godovitz underneath right now, Travels with My Amp, because we didn't do it last week, and Up Close and Uncomfortable are both featured there. Okay, who else are we going to get? I've been talking to Paul Dean and Mike Reno. Apparently Loverboy has an extremely important anniversary coming up in July. So on Canada Day, I'm going to have both of those guys. I could have been in Loverboy, but I didn't need that $10 million, so I said no. Triumph, I spoke with Gil Moore the other day. We're going to talk to them. They have a documentary movie coming up. And we'll get Andy Curran from, of course, he worked for Rush. He's in Coney Hatch. And if some of the girls are out there going, what about the ladies? The ladies are coming shortly. Ricky Lee Jones, if you're listening, we want you on this show. She's my favorite all-time girl singer. So without further ado, and enough of this malarkey from me, here's part 2 of our interview with Josh Dunham from Prince's New Power Generation and the full story behind Super Bowl 41. Enjoy the show.
Okay.
And I mean, you were there, man. I got goosebumps just thinking about what I saw last night, watching it again, the whole concert. What an experience. What was the backstage vibe like during the day? Like, you guys must have been there early. I guess you did a rehearsal the day before, a couple of days before, work out the bugs and the sound and everything. But the day of the actual show, and what was the vibe like back in the dressing room? Like, did he visit with you? Did he tell you what was going on? Were you guys talking about the weather? How did that go down?
Actually, we got there early. I know we was there early, so we, once you're there, you get it. Well, you're in the dressing room, so you're sitting there. They got snacks and food and stuff for you. So when everything is ready to start, you're there. You're in place. I remember actually. We were just in the dressing room. I think I was playing the PlayStation with Mike Phillips. We were playing like some video game. Yeah, it was crazy.
And you're about to go. Yeah, you're about to go on stage in front of 72,000 people and 72 million people watching, right?
Yeah.
And you're just playing PlayStation.
Yeah, we playing PlayStation. It was weird. That was funny though. We were just kind of hanging out. It was cool. It was like, we were nervous, but at the same time, it was like, it's one of them opportunities that that people rarely get. So,
and then of course you guys pull off the greatest one in the history of the sport.
Oh wow!
Paul McCartney, close but no cigar. Rolling Stones, close but no cigar.
Wow.
Michael Jackson, close but no cigar.
Oh wow!
Prince and you guys, cigar.
Oh wow!
Incredible.
Oh, wow. Thanks,
so
man.
when you guys realized that it was going to be really bad weather, what was going on in your minds then? Thinking like, are they going to? Now, I happen to know from doing some research on this, that they filmed the whole performance in advance in case you guys couldn't play live. They would put it on the screens. It would look like it was live, and all Prince had to say about it was, "Hey, can you make it rain harder?"
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember that.
Was he? Did you hear him say that, or was that just something you heard afterwards?
I heard that afterwards. But I really thought that they were going to just play the recording from the day before. I didn't think he was going to go out in the rain and actually perform. But I mean, he did, you know, and it turned out great. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
you've got this acrylic stage and it's raining on it. And this
exactly.
cat's got 6-inch stiletto heels, not to mention the twins dancing like crazy chicks.
Yeah.
And the other gal that came running out singing with you guys, I never caught her name. Who was that one?
Oh, Shelby J.
Yeah, she's good. Of
Yeah,
course, she's
yeah.
good. She's playing with Prince. But then there's just the three of you. It's you and Morris and Cora,
Hmm.
and the only guitar was
And
Prince
I
doing
think
it.
Renato was Renato playing. I don't think Renato was playing now. Oh
I
yeah, I think
only thought
Renato
there was
Neto was there
4
too.
people there. It was a
There's four. Okay,
hell of a
okay.
big noise for 4 people.
Yeah.
Because I've read that the people that were going to put it on flew out to see you guys, probably at Paisley Park, and you ran through the set for them, and they any worries that they had, because apparently it was just like in the rehearsal place, it was just this wall of sound,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know. And then I
Yeah.
stumbled across yesterday. It was, I guess, the press conference where you guys came out and you played Johnny Be Good, which freaked me
Yeah.
out. And I think you did one of his songs right afterwards with that go, go, go. And
Oh yeah.
he actually started it out by saying, anybody got any questions? And this guy starts talking and he goes right into the first song.
We don't wreck your ears too much. Contrary to rumor, I'd like to take a few questions right now.
And he had that, that little Prince twinkle in his eye, when I got
Yeah.
you.
You're right.
What was that scene like? I mean, was that like a week before? Was it the day before the press conference when you did that?
That might have been the day before. You talking about when he
Yeah,
did the little.
when he
Yeah,
said,
I mean,
any
actually, that was right
questions?
before going up, right? Yeah, right before going up, he kind of mentioned, "Hey, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to open the floor for questions, and we're going to count it off and just go into the song." You know, it's kind of one of those little things he wanted to do. But yeah,
So he does, for people that haven't seen it, I'm going to have to read this off, but you did not only like the ones of his that you would want to hear, 1999 and the other songs of his, The Purple Rain, of course, but you had a snippet of Proud Mary in there by Creedence Clearwater. You got a bit of all Along the Watchtower, the Hendrix version.
yeah,
And then you got a Foo Fighters song, which didn't even crack the top 20 on Billboard. Were you guys going, what is he thinking? Or like, did he ever explain to you why he chose those songs?
no, I don't ask any questions. Once he call it, hey, whatever you want, Yeah, I know they were. I guess they were kind of giving him a hard time on his choice of songs because they wanted, I guess, more of his hits.
Yeah.
But he wanted to do what he wanted to do, So yeah.
Yeah, he really marched to his own drummer, didn't he? I mean, he really
Yeah.
didn't, because he knew that whatever he would do, he would pull it
Mm.
off. I mean,
Right, exactly.
you could just see the confidence in the guy that, he always had those sort of, when they had close-ups of, you could always sort of see that mischievous look in his eye, like, like he'd be winking at someone, or, he just had that vibe about him that he just knew what he was doing so well,
Yeah.
I'm really glad I got to see him a few times, man, because
Yeah.
it's funny. I've always looked at him. He was the combination of every great black artist. He was Sam Cooke. He was Sly
Yeah.
Stone. He was
Yeah.
James Brown. He was Jimi Hendrix, and on and on and on. He
And
was
on and on.
that guy. The
Yeah.
same way as I look at Bruce Springsteen for the white dudes, he
Mhm.
was Mick Jagger. He was, he was Pete Townsend. He was like all of those guys wrapped into
Yeah.
one. Did they ever
Mhm.
work together? Do you know if they ever jammed together?
I don't know.
But
Yeah,
not
I
when
don't
you were
know.
with him. You never saw Bruce.
Not
hanging
when,
out.
no, not with me. Yeah.
Okay, so at the rehearsal for the show, it almost sounds like I was there, but I do a lot of reading.
Yeah.
At the rehearsal for the show, they never put up that big white canvas thing. That's what I read. So
Okay.
it was as much a surprise to you guys as it was to everybody else when all of a sudden he's behind it and he's like 30 feet high and he's got that guitar, which has got certain phallic, similarities to it. And
Yeah.
it's a little bit demonic looking. And of course, the phones rang off the hook instantly with people going, "What is that all about?" You know,
Right.
what did you guys think when you saw that come up?
I mean, I didn't know what to think. Like I said, I mean, I'm just happy to be on stage with them performing. So it's like, man, and hopefully we nobody slips and fall, while we playing in this rain.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it was Morris that said that he was really worried about sliding because being at a keyboard, the first thing he would have done was, lunged out to steady himself. He says, and that could have, opened up a whole can of worms with hitting the settings, and knocking his settings all out of skew, because I mean, there was horns in there and all sorts of stuff that he was doing in those
Yeah.
songs. Man. Okay. Okay. The Marching 100 band comes out. They're all in the day glow. Did you guys know that was going to happen?
I want to say I don't think I knew that was going to happen.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you've got 100 kids from, I guess it's a high school marching band somewhere in the
Was
state.
it a high school or was
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes, I read the name of the place that they were from, but they were young kids. But it was all choreographed, and apparently he'd gone out to the rehearsal for them in a golf cart and said, "Hey, you guys are going to do really good. I really like what you're doing." And then, of course, not only is this majestic scene unfolding with the rain coming down, and the phallic guitar and the flames and the bombs and everything, you got 100-piece marching band coming out. Were they actually playing?
Yeah, they were playing.
So they're playing all the brass stuff. I'm going to have to watch it again. Was it in with you guys?
Yeah, they were playing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What was going through your head when you were on the stage? I mean, you're probably watching him for cues and stuff too, because he was really one of those guys that would shoot a look and you knew that you were changing, going into something else. Like, did you look around and see that 72,000 people with the lighters up and the cell phones going, this is like, obviously that had to be the biggest crowd you ever played for.
Yeah. It's probably one of the biggest. I mean, I was just thinking, whatever I'm doing, just give it a lot of energy, big movements. That was his thing. If you move, make sure you move big, you jump, make sure you jump big, because, you want to give it energy, so that's what I was thinking, like, okay, let me just give it all the energy that that I have, and just.
When you saw it back eventually, what went through your head then when you look back at it and went, my God, look at what we just did?
Yeah, I mean, when I look back at it, I thought about the time before working with him. I was at a buddy's house watching Musicology DVD. We was just watching the Prince Jam, and then we were thinking like, man, this is so funky. And then years later, I'm on stage playing with the guy we were watching. Like, it's like incredible,
Yeah, it's funny. I sort of feel the same way about. I've met a lot of my heroes. I met a couple of Beatles and a couple of Rolling, and getting to play with guys like Jeff Healey and Steve Lukather and stuff. And I think I never did the Super Bowl. Don't get me wrong, but I think to myself, like, how does that happen? Where you're a kid who's like starts to play music and you're a fan of the Beatles and you end up meeting two of them. And it's like just a nice social interaction instead of, can I have your autograph,
Right.
But never got to really join the band. I mean, wow. And you did 5 years with them.
Yeah, 5 years.
So when you came, you must have been soaked on stage, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everybody's drenched. It's funny because I was watching him, man, and he didn't really look, you could see the rain just pouring down, but he didn't, it was almost like it was missing him. I mean, like, but I'm sure he was soaked too. What was the vibe like when you went back into the dressing room? Obviously the band first and the chicks are off on their own. Did you guys get together for a huddle afterwards? And he went, we did it?
I'm trying to remember that moment, man, because there was a lot going on. I'm trying to remember. I think I remember going to like a skybox, because that was like that time we went to like some, box to watch the rest of the game. I know we went back. I think we did a photo. Like, I remember talking about the photo. We was talking about, man, we just, did Super Bowl. I'm trying to remember, because I remember like little spots here and there of it. What happened afterwards. I remember after everybody was gone, we were trying to get back into the store and grab some like football gear, jerseys, and helmets, and that type of stuff.
Was it a
So,
help
yeah.
yourself scenario?
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, well, anything they had left that was for purchase, we would try to get it, try to buy it, purchase it.
Right.
But yeah.
That sounds insane. Has there ever been anything else in the time you were with him that even sort of came close to that experience? I mean, 21 days at the O2 is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, now one of the shows I do like was the Coachella show that we did. Yeah, that was a fun show because Morris Day sat in with us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
The club where Morris Day is in Purple Rain, is that club still going in Minneapolis?
Yeah, First Avenue. Yeah,
First Avenue.
yeah.
Do you ever go up there and play up there? I guess if you're doing stuff with the new power generation, you guys would probably play there, right?
I played there before with Prince. It's a very small stage. I mean, on TV it looks huge, but it was really small when we got in there. I was like, wow, it's this little. It was kind of cool to be, what they shot the movie, the film. So thought it was cool. I remember doing the show because I think Larry Graham played that night too.
Wow,
yeah,
that's cool. So it's on record that everything that Prince did, wore foot-wise, apparel-wise, everything had high heels on it. And I think it was your quote said even his flip-flops had high heels.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, they had like a little thick soles.
So was he self-conscious of the fact, because he's just a little guy, right?
Yeah, he's a little guy. He was, a real little guy. Yeah.
Like 5 feet?
Yeah, I mean, he was short.
but he was so well proportioned, it didn't really matter. But was it something that obviously must have bothered him a little bit if everywhere he went he was wearing 6-inch stiletto heels?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just something he liked doing, or
you wouldn't talk about it to him.
No, it wouldn't.
But it's weird because we saw his 2 weeks before he passed. My gal and I went to a 3,500 seat theater in Toronto, a famous one. It changes its name every year. I can't remember what it was called, the Sony Center, I think. And they released the tickets that morning for 2 shows.
Yeah.
And we went out, and it was his show with just him and a piano. Had you seen that show?
I hadn't seen the show, no.
Man, I'll tell you, I knew the guy played some keyboards, but this is, I guess, getting back to my point about the footwear with the high heels. He came out with a cane, and you could tell he was using that cane. It wasn't an affectation. You could tell him that he's had was having problems with his legs. And you got to put it down to, I mean, some of the footage that we've seen of him jumping off speakers and landing on stiletto heels has got to be jarring on your back and your hips.
Yeah.
So, did you ever hear him say anything about it? Like, I'm hurting tonight, or did he keep all that stuff to himself?
No, he never, he
never let you know.
Mention it. No, I mean, like you said, you may see him with the cane, but for us, like telling someone he's in pain, he never did that. I never heard him talk about it.
Yeah, that's what I figured, that he'd be that kind of guy. But I'll tell you this, man, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if he had a band with him or whatever. It was just him and a piano and these psychedelic patterns. It wasn't like a big show as far as theatrics and stuff. But man, I couldn't believe how his songs translated to the piano. No guitar. He didn't pick up a guitar once that night.
Yeah.
And he's playing like classical music like Mozart. And then he's playing ragtime stuff. And then he's playing funk stuff. And you go, this guy is like, he's just beyond good, everything that he does. Steve Lukather, he's probably the most recorded guitar player in history. He's been on 5,000 albums.
Oh, wow.
So I think all the records that he's played on have sold billions of records, right?
Really?
Quincy Jones, Miles Davis, Elton John, Barbra Streisand, just on and on and on. But he says one of the first times he was in a studio in LA, he kept seeing this little head popping up he was a tape op. And he says Prince would just look over top of the thing and then go back down again and never talk to him. And then Luke would see him outside, and he would be on his scooter. And Luke is a very friendly guy. He would go, "Hey man, how you doing? Steve, and he says he would just look at him and then he would drive off, right? So like he had all these different things going on with him, Did you find that with him, with the character, that he could change? Did you ever see him angry?
Uh, I mean, not like, well, I mean, angry. I mean, I've seen the attitude change. We
Yeah.
used to say, like in rehearsal, depending on what he was wearing that day, we know what Prince was coming to rehearsal. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like if he came with just his flops on, regular shirt, some relaxed clothes, okay, we're gonna have fun today.
Yeah.
But if he came in with a suit, he's dressed up, coat, it's like, okay, no playing today. We straight business. So we knew, like which Prince was coming in.
So, okay, well, that's an interesting thing too.
Yeah.
Judging the guy, his attitude by what he's wearing.
Yeah. Most of the time that worked. Yeah.
You had a chance to speak with him the day before he passed.
Mm.
Why did you call him in the first place? I mean, it had been a
Well,
few years since you'd been in the band, but you still were staying in contact with the guy. So
mhm.
did you have some sort of a feeling that something was wrong, or you just wanted to say hi to him?
No, I didn't have a feeling. Actually, Morris Hayes called me that day, and we were just talking because he was calling to check on me because I think he heard something in Houston, the weather or something, so he wanted to make sure I was good. I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for calling." And we started talking about Prince. He was like, "Man, I wonder how he's doing. Somebody need to call him and just check on him, kind of talk to him." So we talked for a little bit, and I told him, I said, "Well, I'm gonna try to call the studio and see if I can reach him." And I told him, I said, he may not pick up, but I'm just gonna leave a message if he doesn't. So I got the phone, Mars, and I called Paisley. I actually sat in my truck to call him because I didn't want any, outside noise. So I sat in the truck. I was calling Paisley. It was ringing. So I just knew he's not gonna pick up. If he's there, he probably won't pick up. So I just leave a message. So it's ringing, and then the phone picks up, and he says, "Hello." And I was like, "Oh, hey, Prince." I said, "This is Josh, man. I was just calling to check on you." And he was like, "Oh yeah, thanks." And, I was like, what I say? I said, "Oh," I asked him, "Did I catch him at a good time?" He would say, "Well, yeah, yeah. I'm just having some lunch." So I said, "Well, I won't hold you. Like I said, I just call to check on you, make sure you was okay." And then he said, "Okay." He asked me, how I was doing, Corey and I were doing. I was like, "Yeah, we're doing good." After that, he just said, "Well, just take care." And I was like, "All right, you too." Got off the phone, and that was
I
it.
guess I guess in retrospect, you were happy that you had that chance to talk to him that day,
Yeah.
considering what happened. And I don't want to
Right.
get into that stuff. What is your obviously you got a lot of memories about working with the guy, and you had the big ones. I mean, I don't think anything could ever eclipse what you guys did at Super Bowl. But
Mm.
what is like one of your fondest memories of your time, the 5 years you were with the guy? Was there another
Uh,
concert that sticks out, or a recording session, or something like that? A dinner party?
uh, I guess one session we did I thought was really fun because everybody was in the studio, like Maceo, Greg, the horns, everybody was there, and he was like just in the middle of the floor with the mic recording and calling the cues, in the song. Like I thought that was pretty cool. He'll count it off and then we'll play the groove and he'll just be talking like, we sitting all in the studio just sitting there watching him just call the changes to the bridge, we go to the bridge, back to the one, on the one, and then he'll talk a little bit, come back in. I thought I think that's one of the coolest moments that I remember having with
Yeah,
him.
watching the creative process with this guy. Would
Yeah.
they use the live off the floor as an actual master? Like they get rid of all the talking and stuff, but the track you're talking about now,
Oh,
did they use that as the actual track that they used even with him? Like they could edit out the talking and stuff.
I think they did because I remember like hearing. I think if they didn't use all of it, I know they used some of it. But it was kind of cool just to see him like do that with us. I know like on certain songs, like when we were going to record the music, and if he recorded vocals, he would kick us out the studio because he didn't want anybody watching him while he record. But I know that particular session, he was in there, calling all the changes.
Well, Josh, man, I can't thank you enough for being here today. This, we
Oh man.
we met, like 4 years. My daughter told me it was 2017, I think, when we ran into each
Yeah.
other. And you
Yeah.
stayed,
Yeah.
you're one of the guys like I am, where you meet someone, you like them, you stay in touch with them, and you've gone way out of your way to help me out here. But
Oh
I want
wow.
to find the last thing I want to ask you is, what are you doing these days? What are you doing? What are you doing these days
I
besides like
mean,
hiding out with COVID?
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm still playing. I play around town. I'm actually playing with I don't know if you heard of Chris Walker. He's a bass player, but he worked with Al Jarreau for maybe 20 plus years. He was his MD. He's now put together a Al Jarreau tribute band, so I'm a part of that as well. And then I'm working, music here around town. I still record here at the house. I'm actually jumping into a little bit of real estate, something just different from music. And I'm getting ready to start another business with another business partner of mine. So that's exciting, just kind of branching off, doing some other things.
Do you ever get calls from any of the other big stars going, well, this guy played with Prince, he's good enough to play with me? Do Mick Jagger phone you up and say, hey, I'm doing a session, would you like to?
Nah, I mean, I wish. I mean, after playing with Prince, though, I did do like a short tour with Nick Jonas. And that was a really fun gig too.
Yeah, those kids
but
are
I hadn't talked to
talented.
him since then. Yeah.
He's one of the Jonas Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talented, those kids.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. I saw them on the Billboard Awards. They had some guy with a marshmallow on his head. Well, thanks, Josh, man. It's been great.
Thank you, Greg.
And I hope that we run across each other someday live and in person. We never got a chance to play any music down in the Dominican, but you go there still. I go there still.
Yeah.
One of these days we'll hook up.
Yeah, I know we will.
Okay, brother. Thanks a lot, man. And you take care of yourself.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. Good night.
Right. Good night. Bye.